Good morning, everybody. You can hear me okay? Looking for a thumbs up. Yes. Yeah? Thank you, Rob. I see you. And all of us who remember to set our clocks, welcome to Unity in the Gold Country this Sunday morning. We start as we always do on this really beautiful Sunday morning by lighting our Christ candle. There is that which is the infinite, transcendent, really ineffable sort of essence of the divine presence. And it's that which is eternal and transcendent and is beyond us. And yet there is that of the divine that is immanent. It is awakened to us. It is here and always accessible, ever present, unfailing, available to us. And we call that energy, that very essence of the divine presence, available to the point of us as individuals, to the point of us as community, to the point of us as a universe. And we call that energy the Christ. And so we light this Christ candle as a representation and as to remind us that that presence of the divine, that transcendent, that all-encompassing energy is here at the point of us, and it is never failing. It is always present, and it is always there with us. We light the Christ candle to remind us. And we'll have an opening song.
That I hope will hit you right between the eyes. It's all about the night I first encountered a genius in disguise. Well, you know how I can be a little blasé, like I already know the score. Here's an unexpected command performance I wasn't bargaining for. Listen up. I'm in my seat at the end of the concert. The maestro has just left the stage. When in the back of the hall there's a terrible ruckus and security gets way. Well, this homeless guy, all tatters and terrors, breaks through the guard on the left. He rushes the stage like a demon possessed, and the audience holds its breath. Well, he walked right in like he owned the joint, flipped his tapes as he sat down to play. And out of that piano came a rhapsody that I still remember today. Well, bless my soul and shut my mouth. Imagine my surprise. He was a bona fide virtuoso. He was a genius in disguise. I try not to judge a book by its cover, because you never know what's inside. Cause if I open my mind, I just might find a genius in disguise. Thinking about my personal mojo, which I'd like to maximize. Maybe I am my own best kept secret. I could be a genius in disguise. Well, if practice makes perfect, and if I do the work, if I smile as I balance my talents, I could be a legend in my own mind. I would walk right in like I owned the joint, flip my wig and begin to play a moonlight sonata, a breakfast frittata, masterpiece every day. So I rest my case, I drop the charges, I set my spirit free, and I send out an invitation to the rest of humanity. Well, I say we all blow our cover, and in the clean like rise, open the door and expect to explore our genius in disguise. Creative collaboration, collective improvisation. We are all geniuses in disguise. Genius in disguise.
Yeah, I love that. It sets up a bit of our theme for today where things aren't always as they seem, or as in the story, someone walks in that they're a little worried about. Who is this person? And find out about their genius, and find out about our genius, and find out about all the possibilities of our transformation from one state of where we're not really sure about how things are turning out because of certain challenges, and then to find out on the other side of it, there's a genius, there's a potentiality, there's a possibility. Right now in the probably about a third of the people on the planet are affiliated somehow with the Christian tradition. So to speak to that for just a moment, there is right now the season of Lent, and it is the fourth week of Lent, moving towards Easter. And it's a pretty fascinating story in the sense that we all know how the story ends, right? We've heard this story many times. We've read it. We've seen the movie. We know the story. We've grown up with it. There's this man, Jesus. He's this amazing healer and teacher, and he lives in a very rural area, and he's up by the lake, and he has all these rural people, these fishermen, these workers. And then he moves and he goes in this one fateful week to Jerusalem. He goes to the big city, the urban area, one of the largest metropolitan areas of the Middle East at the time. And it doesn't work out well in the sense of his death, in a terrible death and a torture. And after he comes celebrated, he ends up dying. But the other side of it, there is there's a transformational moment, a resurrection moment. So we know this story. We know how it starts off, and it looks so promising. And then there's a terrible, challenging, difficult time of pain and transformation. But at the end, the story ends up well. And you think, well, did he know how that story was going to end when he went up to Jerusalem and got in the middle of this event? Did he know that this for sure was all going to turn out well? I mean, this is sort of the struggle that every human being has when we go through these transformational moments that have challenges, have potentially pain, have physical or financial or emotional or whatever way these challenges in our life. Do we rest assured that how the other side of it's going to turn out? I mean, what's that going to look like? As this is part of this journey of Lent, of looking at this issue of difficult things happening to our lives and trying to see the other side, the transformational possibilities. And this is the theme of this Lent, this theme of this week, and it'll be the theme of the talk today about these transformational opportunities. But in the middle of this transformation, there's always this balance between seeing the promise of transformation, but also holding the fact that when all of us humans go through these difficult times, there's a place for empathy, for compassion, for prayer, for understanding that we go through these challenging times, and we need to hold each other in our hearts in a place of compassion and prayer. And with that, we want to just put up Greg Plank in memoriam, hold him in our hearts. I love that picture. It reminds me of Greg so much. And I want to hold these following other people. I'm going to say their names and let's hold them all in our hearts. These are people who have asked for prayer. And there's a few people on the list this time. So let's just hold them as we say their names, keep them in their hearts, and send out this sense of warmth and empathy and support in response to the prayer requests that they have made. Sean, Barbara McCarthy, Andy and Karen Holman, Patricia Plank and the family, Claudia's sister, Patricia Castrop and niece, Keith Malley and family, Lori Gubera Stengel, Will Emerson, Nina Kipnis and Paul Spoto, Robin Casella, Karen White's brother, Ken Loden, wife Margaret Barrett, and sons Robin and Andrew. And also for Rachel Fontana, and on the passing of Bill Johnson, for Margaret Johnson and family and friends, Will McBride, Dickie Foster, Bella, who's Kathy's Evil's cat, Angela and Luke buying a new home now, Tess, Dal and Judy Harder, Clementine, who's recovering from surgery, Tim Bentley, Darius and Dimitri Harris, and Barbara O'Connor. So we hold all of them in our prayers, and also just take a deep breath for a moment and bring your own prayers for yourself, for loved ones, for those things that maybe haven't been mentioned. Hold them in your hearts as well. And we send these prayers forth with our heartfelt love and care. And also we hold them forth with the promise of all the goodness and the transformation possibilities within all these events. And we see them held in the lives of God. And let's say together, if you will, our prayer. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God, and all is well.
Good morning, Unity friends. I'm going to start off this morning with reading our daily word, and then we're going to move right into our meditation to prepare us for the message today. Today's daily word is divine energy. The energy of divine life renews me. And I invite you to say that with me. The energy of divine life renews me. How do I have the focus to achieve my goals? How do I have the strength to carry on through challenging times? How do I have the aptitude to learn, grow, and change when I'm called upon to do new things? At the heart of everything I am called to do is the energy to do it. I am a divine being, and I call upon the power of God within me to channel my energy in deliberate ways. Divine energy is inexhaustible. Unlike my muscles, which can tire, and my mind, which can feel frazzled, the power of God within flows through me unimpeded. In prayer, I claim divine energy and imagine it flowing through me with the force of a mighty waterfall. I am grateful for my renewal. And so I'd like you to take a few minutes now to imagine a most beautiful waterfall in your mind's eye. Just see this gorgeous waterfall. Let this image expand and grow and fill your visual plane within. Look and see mist, droplets, and beautiful prisms of reflective light. See yourself now inside of a waterfall, this beautiful waterfall now turning to white light. Imagine this waterfall flowing down over the top of your head and down over your body, washing away any stress you may be holding. See the beautiful crystal white light filling you and flowing into you. It's bringing you peace and relaxation. This waterfall is the waterfall of divine energy. Feel it pouring in through the top of your head and filling you with love and joy. Imagine this energy now going directly to any parts of your body that are in need of healing. Any parts. Feel it fixing your body, aligning the cells so they work beautifully. Send the energy to any part of you that needs adjusting, care, or attention, and feel it filling your physical body. Feel it healing your physical body. This divine energy is nurturing and repairing any part of you in need of healing. Now bring in the beautiful waterfall energy to strengthen your mind. Feel it giving you the power of better understanding and clarity of thought. Feel a sense of ease, a gentle focus. See the light filling your mind and lighting it up ever so brightly. Now feel the white light pouring in and flowing through you, filling you with peace. It brings you calmness and relaxation. Feel this healing your emotions. Feel the calming and the settling. The white light pours gently into you, softening and filling you with love and joy. You can rest in this place. Breathe it in. Anytime you need to use this divine energy, you can simply think, waterfall. Shut your eyes and it will be there for you. To use this energy to help others, you can simply send it out from yourself, from your heart, like a laser beam, to whoever you want to share it with. Think of someone you know who is in need of support right now. Imagine sending this energy out from your heart directly to them, connecting your heart energy to their heart. Know that the energy will go wherever it is most needed for this person, wherever. Whether it is to a part of their physical body or to their emotions, their mind, or their spirit. Stay connected to this person for a moment while the divine love you are sending them fills them and works to heal them. Now bring the energy back to yourself and see it flowing directly through you and down into the ground. Let's unite our energies this morning now. Send your energy out from your heart center through your computer screen to all the faces and names in our little Zoom boxes. Imagine us, unity in the gold country, in this divine light, expanding and connecting heart to heart, awash in a waterfall of divine love and light. And to those who join in spirit after this service is recorded, know you are embraced in this waterfall as well. We extend our light and our energy to you. We are connected in this light through love. Now bring your hands to your heart space and gently release this waterfall. Bring your awareness back to yourself, to your breath, to your body, sitting in a chair or couch or wherever you are. Our hearts are now open and receptive. We are renewed. We are grateful. Thank you, divine energy.
Thank you, Diane.
When my hands were empty, when my hope was gone, I couldn't help but wonder, what had I done wrong? Even though my heart was broken, there was no need to despair, 'cause a vessel must be open to put something better there. Oh yeah, into my emptiness, gently you pour new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs,
Hi, everybody. And by the way, at the very start, I may have neglected to tell you, my name is Frank Castro Wehr. I always assume everybody knows me because we know each other, but there may be some new people on the call. And Reverend Jerry is off this weekend, so he asked me to facilitate the service with all of us today. I'm here in Nevada City from my office chapel, I guess. And the meditation was done by my wife, Diane. So for those of you who maybe don't know us. So the talk title today, and I think you kind of see where this is leading up from the music and the meditation, is someone saying can't hear me. Is that the case? Let me see. Rob Cairns, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Yep. Okay. I see Rob. Okay. So let me know if it's too soft. The talk title today is Why Me? Or why do bad things seem to happen to good people? And it kind of fits into this theme of Lent, of looking at how somehow things that are really challenging or surprising happen to people who are so good. And really it comes up too with this sense of, for unity people, think of our very first of our 5 key principles. I mean, our very first principle is there's one divine presence, and it is all powerful. It is everywhere. It is in all things, and it is in all times, and it is good. That's number one, the first principle. It is good. So for those of us in unity, you go, oh, wait a second. If it's all evident and in all places and at all times, and it's good, then why do sometimes things that don't look so good or don't feel so good happening in our lives? There's actually a whole element of in theology that deals with this. You take a course, it's called theodicy. It's a word that means the struggle we've had over centuries or millennia about people wondering, how is it that if there's a good God that bad things, apparent bad things, seemingly bad things seem to happen? And it's not only like, why do bad things maybe happen to me? I saw a piece on the news the other day, and the article was, why is this happening to us? And it was people kind of in the service industry who have been laid off and who've been really struggling financially for a long time. And they're saying, there's a lot of other sectors in our society that financially seem to have boomed during this pandemic, who are doing really well. And meanwhile, look at us. We've been struggling. Why us? Why us? So it's not just a why me. It's a why us, or it's why this community, or why this group. I mean, what is going on? So I want to address this question, or at least throw it out and look at it through a couple lenses. We talk about new thought, ancient wisdom as part of our unity movement. So I want to look at something that comes from ancient wisdom, a piece from Hebrew scripture that's known as the book of Job, this beautiful poem that really talks about this struggle. And then I also want to talk about something that comes from contemporary biology, natural sciences, as sort of a metaphor for another way of looking at this question and looking at it both ways. But first, let's go to traditional scripture. And this comes from what, Old Testament, or what we call the Hebrew scripture. And it's this gorgeous poem, and it's called the book of Job. And it breaks down into basically 4 sections. And I'm just going to go through this really quick. The first section is this kind of very fascinating story about challenges, the energy of challenge and temptation, if you will, or things that can go wrong. This energy goes to Yahweh, the divine God of the time, and says, let me go down to earth, and I'm going to go deal with people, and I'm going to shake things up. And Yahweh goes, go ahead. I mean, that's it. It's just like, okay, go ahead, do your best. But I know that I'm in charge and things will work out according to my plan. And so this negative energy goes into the world, first part. And you're going, wait, come on, Yahweh, aren't you going to argue with this a little bit here? This really kind of fascinating play that comes out. And there's this guy, Job. And Job is considered just an outstanding individual. Like, he follows all the laws. He's good to his family. He's fair. He has a lot of integrity. And he's the kind of person you would think, well, nothing could go wrong because he does everything right. And yet, first off, there's storms and there's thieves, and he loses his animals and his sheep and his cows. And he was once a wealthy person, and now all of a sudden he's basically impoverished. And then to add on to that, it says he's stricken with this terrible disease. It's like he gets, sores all over. I mean, it feels like he got smallpox or something. It like looks awful, and he's miserable, and he's so sick. And now he's poor, and he loses family members, and he's sitting in the ash, and he's just despondent. And along comes three friends. I'll do the air quote thing, friends, right? And so this is the next part. He shows up, and these friends, and this is the most of the story, they start telling, well, Job, you must have done something wrong, because Yahweh would not have punished you. They're saying you're being punished for what you've done wrong. So Job gets into this argument back. No, I've done everything right. I'm a good guy. I paid taxes. I've taken care of my family. I've obeyed the law. I've done everything right. And then he starts getting at the divine. It's like, what are you doing to me? What kind of divine do you call yourself? You call yourself God. Look what you're doing to me. This is ridiculous. I'm a good guy. And so there's all these chapters of people arguing with each other about what's going on apparently in the manifest world, and trying to find this absolute formula for, if I do this, this should happen, and connect all the dots. And they're just struggling with it because nothing seems to make sense. And actually, I think if I'm ever in a time where I'm just like mad at the world because it isn't fair, or so it seems, this is a great story to read, because you can just see this whole dynamic playing out with these friends. And so finally, part 3, this fellow Elihu comes along. Now, when you read Charles Fillmore, he's co-founder of the Unity Movement, he writes about this character Elihu, and he says, really, this guy's not just a friend. He's like the spirit. He's like the spirit of God. He's like the investigator. He's like the person that's going to turn the tales and tell the story in a different way. So Elihu comes into the three friends and says, guys, stop. This guy is suffering, and all you want to do is argue with him about whose fault it is. How about a little compassion? How about a little empathy? How about caring for your friend in his need, and not just trying to figure out some divine plan that you can understand that makes it all right? And at that point, Job, the protagonist, the star of the story, he settles down and he goes, oh, you're right. I'm just trying to argue with God, and it's not working, obviously. So where do I turn? And his energy slows down and he calms down. So as Elihu sets the stage, and then along comes, and this is fascinating, Yahweh. The Yahweh speaks to Job. They have a conversation, which, at the time this story was written, about maybe 300, 400, 500 BCE, we're not exactly sure, for a literature of a people to have people actually talking to their divine entity in a relationship, in a connection, in an actual, relational capacity, was totally unheard of, like around the world. Gods were somewhere else off, and in another cosmos, and they did their stuff, but there wasn't like a relationship. But in this story, there's actual relationship, which is fascinating. And it says that this Yahweh spoke to Job in the eye of a storm. So, by the way, years ago, when I first got out of school, I was a chemist and an engineer in a chemical plant down in Houston, south of Houston, in a place called Freeport. And one time there was a huge hurricane that came in, and a bunch of us, we stayed in the control area. We put all the plywood over the windows, and we battened down the hatches to keep the plant going through the storm, just, at a minimal level. And the windows were shaking, and the hurricane was going over, and it was just so noisy. Everything was shaking. It was kind of actually scary. And then all of a sudden, silence. It was like that old thing they say, the eye of the storm. It was really true. And the window stopped, and it got so quiet. And we all went outside, and it was like no birds, no sounds, just absolute stillness and quiet. That eye of the storm feeling. And I think this metaphor of Yahweh speaking in the eye of the storm is also like, you think of these friends, and Job in this argument. It's like up in their heads and it's swirling around and this idea and that idea, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm mad at you and you're mad at me and you're not being nice and you're not listening to my problems and blah, this storm of uncomfortableness because of the suffering that Job was in, and his friends who are, projecting suffering on him as well. But it was in that quiet spot. It was in that silence. It was in that maybe for a minute, get out of this whirlwind and sink into your heart, Job. Maybe where you can find that connection to that divine presence and that noisy energy can be stilled for a moment. That was the place where the transformation happened. Finally, at the end of the story. And so Job he gets silent. And this divine Yahweh says, it's such a great poem. He's like, do you know where the vaults of hail are that I bring down on the fields? And do you know where I store the lightning bolts? And do you know where the great sea creatures come from and where they go, and the great land animals and these mystical creatures? And Job's like going, I don't, all this is amazing. I don't get any of it. And he goes, right. So connect with me. And there's this great piece in the story, using this Bible, the Message. It's a beautiful interpretation where finally at the end of the story goes, after Job's like, blah, 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 what's wrong? And everyone's getting on me. And he goes, I'm speechless. I'm in awe. Words fail me. I should have never opened my mouth. I have talked too much, way too much. And now I'm ready to shut up and I'm going to listen. Now I'm ready to shut up and I'm going to listen. Usually when I go to meditation, I don't say to myself, okay, I'm going to shut up and listen, but maybe that's a good thing to say, just that place of going to the eye of the storm, that quiet spot, that connection. Many years ago, I don't know how long ago it was, Reverend Jerry did a talk, and he said, it was something like this, but I remember the affirmation. I want to reshare it again with y'all. Despite what seems to be happening with physical ailments, my connection to my higher self is unshakable and ever present. And despite what seems to be happening with maybe some financial problem or, out in the world, or some job issue, my connection to source is unshakable and it's ever present. And despite what might be happening in the world and politics and whatever challenges or difficulties I might be happening, my connection to my higher self, it's unshakable and it's ever present. And as a community, what might be happening in different communities at the Gold Country or at other different communities or in our country, our connection to divine source is unshakable and it's ever present. It's just, we have to connect with it. It's there. It's ever present. It's unshakable. And like Job found out, he finally connected with it. Just connect with it. It's there. So Job, of course, they lived happily ever after ending. He gets more animals. His friends say they're sorry and they give him gifts. And we were idiots and we weren't compassionate. We had no empathy for you. We weren't listening either. And Job has this deep connection to the divine. And he gets family members back and there's more kids born and he lives this long and happy life and happily ever after. But it was funny in this whole thing and this whole puzzle of why do bad things seem to happen to good people? And the answer at the end of the story is, well, it's not an answer. It's, well, listen, connect. You're already connected. Find that connection and let the process of transformation happen in our lives. Let that transformational process happen. Well, that's my ancient wisdom story, if you will. And I want to just switch over really quickly to this other beautiful story. And again, I'm going to take something that Reverend Jerry talked about, I think just a few months ago, because it made such a profound difference for me. And I think I understand because I'm talking to other Unity people. It was a really powerful talk. And you might have heard it. It's, for those of you who didn't hear it, it's the story of the transformation of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And in this story, we find out, and I went back and read it through Deepak Chopra and Barbara Marx Hubbard, and I read some science papers too about how this works. And so the caterpillar at the end of its life, it has these things in called imaginal cells, or I've read of also called in some papers imaginal discs. And they're in the caterpillar from the start. And the caterpillar's immune system actually attacks them because it seems like it's something strange. Like, what are you things doing here? What is this all about? But they fight off the immune system and they just stay dormant in this caterpillar. And as the caterpillar's life goes on, and towards the end of it, this particular part of its life, it starts to get mushy. You know, it's not a firm caterpillar anymore. It starts actually to get mushy and gooey, and it gets into its cocoon, and it basically falls apart, except for like its respiratory system and a couple other key components of it that, you know, it's part of its life. The rest of it goes to goo. Can you imagine? And these imaginal cells at this point, they kick in, they form, they coalesce, they come together, and they literally inform this transformation at the DNA level of this creature to change from being a caterpillar to a butterfly. And so eventually the butterfly is born, it breaks through the cocoon, it comes out, it sits out on the edge, and it sits in the sun, and it dries its wings. I almost imagine what if I could imagine a caterpillar thinks, you know, it's like, what the heck just happened to me? Here I thought it was the end of times, and it turned out it was a transformation to something new and amazing. And a note on this too is that it has a time. There's a time for that to happen. And if for some reason it doesn't do the transformation at the right time in the right place, the butterfly actually never happened. So it needs to happen. It needs to be encouraged. It can't be thwarted, because if it doesn't, the transformation doesn't happen. It's like this butterfly needs to enter into this place where it dissolves of what it thought it was, so that it can then in turn become something new to what it's going to be in this next transformational place in its life. And I think of butterflies, like Diane and I have gone all sorts of places to see butterflies. We were in Costa Rica, the blue morphs. We were like going all over the place just to get a glimpse of these butterflies. I've done a lot of work trying to see butterflies. It's interesting. I've never actually gone out of my way to find a caterpillar. I mean, if I see them, they're cool, but you know, you don't go on trips for caterpillars. It's like the butterfly, that transformed piece of this creature. Now, what's interesting, the butterfly has these imaginal cells. And I use this as, of course, a metaphor, because we don't have imaginal cells in us, but what we do have is powers that are innate to us as human beings. Like we do have imagination and zeal and understanding and judgment and love and life and strength and renunciation. And wisdom. We have that. I mean, the butterfly has one kind of cell. We've got 12 powers, as our founders from Unity would say, these 12 unique powers that have available to us to support us through these transformational periods. I was, maybe some of you had this experience, kind of woke up at 3 a.m. It was a while ago. And I was laying in bed and I had this issue that was on my mind. And I remember really clearly what it was. And it was a challenging thing. And I was turning it over and I was, you know, struggling to go back to sleep because it was really prominent on my mind. And all of a sudden I'm laying in bed, I started laughing and I said, I'm just being caterpillar mush. I'm just gooey caterpillar stuff that is needing to go through this time to get ready for a transformation. And I can trust 100% that what I need, you know, this connection to my source is unshakable and it's ever present. My connection to the source and this Christ energy, these powers that I have innate to me as a human being, these divine energies of strength and imagination and wisdom and love and life and all the rest, these are innate in me and I have them and they're unshakable and they're ever present and they're here. So I kind of laid in bed. I was like in this stressful moment. I went like, I'm just caterpillar mush. I'm getting ready to transform. And it was so soothing. And I had this sense of, yes, this is the truth of it. So again, does this story then answer the question, why do, you know, seemingly bad things happen to good people? I don't know, we asked that question, and I don't even know if it's the exact right question to ask, or even though it's a question that's been asked through the centuries. Because the sense of I get into it is more like, I'm in the story of transformation. I'm in a place, or we are in a place, or any of us are in this place of a challenging time. I would love to say there's a way to go from this state to that state and transform without having to go through a period of being uncomfortable or something difficult or even painful or challenging. Is it possible to go one place to the next without going through that pain? Well, I don't want to say never, because always and never are never good things, are not really the best things to say, because you can always find an example to the contrary. But to my experience, usually there's some uncomfortable period that kicks off the transformation. Usually we got to be caterpillar goo before we can reform ourselves into our next stage of butterfly experience. And so, we walk through this period. We're creatures that do this transformational dance. We evolve, we change, and sometimes there's huge challenges. That's not to say that we see somebody who's suffering and we go, oh, you're just transforming. No, like those friends in Job, we still recognize that times of transformations in life can be really painful, really challenging, really difficult. And we greet each other and ourselves with empathy and with compassion and support of each other for these challenges that we go through. And at the same time, we stand with a sense of faith that as we support people through these challenging times, there's a promise of our connection to the divine in our higher self being unshakable and ever present. And so I'll end on just a little poem from the Sufi poet Rumi, who said this: when I die, I will roam with the angels. And when I die to the angels, what I shall then become, no one can imagine. Peace and blessings, friends. And we go into just sharing our power words for March now, which really fit really well. I can handle any circumstance by tapping into the wisdom within me and all around me. And we'll do our prosperity affirmation, but to donate to Unity in this, if we don't have another way or you're new, there's also the www.unitygold.us to make a donation. And let's say together our love offering. Divine Beloved, allow me to give with complete ease and abundance, knowing that together we are the unlimited source of all. And let me be an easy, open conduit for our prosperity. Let me trust that all my needs are always met in amazing ways and that it is safe to give freely as my heart guides. And equally, let me feel as wildly open to receive as to give, so that our light can shine without restriction. And now a really fun song by Michael Gott.
Release the past, receive the new. Let go, let go. Trust the love to guide. There's a greater possibility rising up inside of me, but the wounds of my past won't let go. How do I let the pain go? By standing in the truth I know. Right now, love is healing me. Love is healing me. Let go. Release the past. Receive the new. Let go. Let go. Let go. Trust the love to guide you Love is healing me. Love is healing me. Love is healing me. Love is healing me. Let go. Let go. Let go. Release the past. Receive the new. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Trust the love to guide you through. Trust the love to guide you through. Trust the love to guide you through. Trust the love. Trust love.
Let go, let come. Michael God, beautiful. So 2021, our theme this year, as you might remember, it's a year of renewal, transformation, awakening, healing, and wonder. And for some of our announcements, the Spiritual Exploration Group is going to do David's book. Thank you, David. Read intro to chapter 1, and it's at Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. The social group is meeting in the buildings on Thursdays from 10 to 11, temperature check on the door. And I don't know, I wonder if that's, as it gets nicer, maybe moving outside. I have no idea. I haven't been to that one yet, but that is still going for people who want a social connection. You've been feeling isolated at all. A Tai Chi and Qigong class, drop in Wednesdays at 8:30, see the Zoom link in the email that comes out. And also this class with Nancy Shandera, first and third Thursdays, has gotten a lot of good feedback. People have really enjoyed it. It's been a pretty good class as well. So for those interested in a dream interpretation class. I'm not sure the time it starts. Might call Leslie at the office, but it's on first and third Thursdays. And with that, we'll end with the song we love to end with.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one sun. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
And we can say together a prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Because wherever we are, God is. Because I am, and all is well. Amen. And I'm going to, where's the mute button? Right here. There we go. I think you can unmute yourself.
Can't see everybody, but
Thank you.
Great.
Frank, that was beautiful. Very inspirational. Texting
Great.
people, tell them to watch on YouTube.
Here we are.
Right. Have a beautiful Sunday, everybody.
You
Too.
Hey, Yvonne.
Good seeing everyone.
Hi,
Yeah.
Kathy Lee.
I haven't seen her for a while.
Okay.
Have a nice
Have
Sunday.
a blessed day,
Okay, bye.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Bye, Claire.
Welcome.
Thank you, Frank.
You're welcome.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Good Sunday.
You yawning.
Yeah.
Small group today.
Gallery view.